Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Matthew and today we're going to be doing a bit of a different video. We're going to be doing a bit of a guide as to what kind of figures you should pick up for, let's say, a friend, a family member, could be a cousin, could be maybe a coworker, just anything of any sort of Godzilla figure in for the holiday season. Now, I do want to make mention that yes, it is October, but a lot of people around this time of year start doing Christmas shopping in order to avoid, getting caught up in all sorts of shipping problems during the holiday season. That primarily happens in like November and December for any last minute Christmas shoppers. So I want to help those who are looking to get their Godzilla figures, as soon as possible so they don't have to deal with any of the, the other Christmas stuff that happens as well. So we're also going to be primarily talking about figures and figures only. So we're not looking at things like keychains, like any sort of cutlery, because I know there does exist Godzilla cutlery. We're not really looking at masks and anything like that. We're not really looking at that sort of stuff. We're just primarily looking at Godzilla figures and toys. So we're going to be dividing this into three sections. The smaller figures, which are about like 3 inches or so, maybe even 4. The bigger scale figures, which are about 6 to 8 inches, give or take. And the third section, which is about 10 to 12 inches. So, because those three sections are very big and very popular amongst collectors, and who knows, maybe they might dig up your appeal I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Whatever, you get the point. So sit back and relax and pay attention to this figure guide. So first up, let's start with the first section, which is about 2 to 4 inch figures, maybe in 5 inch, because I know that's one of the figure sets we're going to be reviewing is. So let's say you have someone who is really into Godzilla and wants to get something small but very nice and compact. That is where these guys come in. This is the Vinimates Godzilla 1995 Burning Godzilla figure. This guy originally retailed for about $10 or so, but then got reissued with a fellow monster, Rodan, for about $20. So that's a fair price. There were 3 sets in total that featured Godzilla and another monster, with the exception of 1 set. For this one, again, it came with Rodan, and the other 2 were Godzilla 62 and Mechagodzilla 74, and Godzilla 1954 and Godzilla 1999, or Godzilla 2000, with the beautiful purple spikes, by the way. And all those sets retail for about 20 bucks each, so you're getting 2 figures for the price of 1. Very exquisite deal. They're right now available on Big Bad Toy Store for, again, about $20. You can actually check out my reviews of the figures that I mentioned in this as well, assuming I actually have them. And this one is the Bandai Banpresto Godzilla 2019 from King of the Monsters. This thing retails for about $20-$25, and it is very high quality. I would actually say that this is probably one of the best Godzilla figures ever. And the only imperfection that I can really say are the claws, but even then they're so minor in comparison to the actual gorgeousness this figure actually has to offer. There are 3 figures in total. There's this guy, Burning Godzilla, which is hit or miss in terms of quality, and Ghidorah with the poorly named crotch cradle accessory. So all of them are $20 to $25 each, so you'd be looking at $25, $25, $25. That is $75, doing my quick mental math, and assuming that you're actually paying $25 for all these. So you're walking away with 3 figures for the price of $75. Very cheap and very affordable for what you get as well. But let's say that one individual you're looking after is looking for something more akin to the more modern Godzilla vs. Kong movie. even though the figure I just showed you is literally that design. Well, luckily, both Funko and U2's have you covered. This is the Funko Pop Godzilla with Heat Ray that retails for about $10, $20 or so depending on where you get them from. And this is the U2's Godzilla vs. Kong aircraft carrier set. This about retails for about $30 to $40 depending on where you get it from. Both of these figures are made of vinyl and are about 4 inches in height or so. And this one actually comes with the heat ray. Now, both U2's and Funko released a full line of Godzilla merch. This one featuring 6 in its base ones, featuring 3 exclusives, 2 of which glow in the dark, and 1 fuzzy, kind of flocked Kong. The original set as a whole features 1 Mechagodzilla, this guy, the original Godzilla, and then 3 versions of Kong that appear throughout the movie: Battle Scar, Battle Ready, and Battle Axe Kong. So that's 6 in total. And U2's released this one, a Kong on Throne figure, and a Heat Ray Godzilla, which is only available at Books-A-Million, or BAM if you live in the US. But let's take the Funkos a little bit further. For about $30 on Big Bad Toy Store, you can get yourself the giant Godzilla figure that stands about 10 inches tall, and even for another $30, my apologies, ladies and gentlemen, you can get a Kong to go with your Godzilla. I don't have the Kong, unfortunately, but I do have the Godzilla to show you, and he is very, very huge. He's actually quite hefty, too, more than I was expecting. And these guys also got their own exclusives in the form of Neon City Walmart exclusives that are relatively pricey nowadays, but you should be able to find one for a steal, say on some sort of other website, maybe like eBay or something if you really want to go down that route. And one more thing about the Funkos, they actually came with keychains. Now I know I did say we're just primarily focusing on figures, but these things are basically little tiny Funko Pop figurines. Just, they can go on your backpack, your purse, whatever it may be, but these are really great options. And not to mention, they're very cheap and affordable. I got these things for about $13 total. Honestly, not too bad given the quality of these things. Also, they released Funko Sodas, which basically you have a limited chance of finding either the chase version, which is like some sort of limited edition figure of it, or just the original one itself, which that itself is already limited, and I don't want to even get into that. And to wrap up this section, let's say you want to get a bit more classical, you know, old 80s, maybe no, not 80s, 60s Godzilla figures. Well, enter the Mezco Godzilla 5.XL line, and I also will say Super 7 Reaction Series, although I don't own any yet. These figures are incredibly high quality. They come in 4 packs, which altogether is about $80, but it comes with so much accessories and so much figures, 4 figures, by the way, so much accessories and 5 points of articulation each. They're so amazing, and honestly, I think I would just recommend them all. But of course, the average person might not be able to spend that sort of money. So my suggestion, go to eBay and find yourself these figures individually. They are greatly priced from what I see, and honestly, I think you're going to walk away a happy camper with these. So now that we have the smaller scale figures out of the way, let's go over to about the 5, not really 5 inch, the 6 inch to 8 inch, which is what we're really going to call this. Starting with the NECA Godzillas. Also, just in case if anyone's wondering, this in my hand is the NECA Godzilla 2014, NECA's first ever Godzilla figure. Now, I know what people are going to say, and yes, it is worth noting that these figures were in fact discontinued back in 2020. However, you can still relatively find these for cheap on eBay, which I've seen listings for about cheap as $25, $30, which is about retail. So honestly, I would say scoop these guys up while you still can, honestly. And there's over, I think, 25 figures in total, which I've made a video fully explaining the entirety of the NECA Godzilla line if you do so wish to check that out. maybe see what your options are for that line, because there's a bunch of figures. I nearly have the entire line, and honestly, I'm still going to complete it, whether my wallet likes it or not. So let's go over to what was NECA's biggest competitor during their Godzilla license days, SH Monster Arts. Now, the reason why they're such the biggest competitor is that they're just about equal in terms of quality, maybe a bit excelling in terms of articulation half the time, and honestly, they mostly came with accessories. At least the older releases did. The newer ones didn't really seem to have all that many accessories, but that's besides the point. The main drawback for this line, however, is that hefty cost. These figures can range from a minimum of $60 at retail to over $200 sometimes a figure. Now, sometimes that's worth it, sometimes it's not. This right here is the GMK Godzilla, and it recently just got a reissue, more of a repaint, in the form of the Heat Ray Godzilla. But that thing didn't even come with a Heat Ray, so you're just better off buying this. Or just stick with the NECA. How about a bit something more standard, you know? Minimal posability, but still relatively nice. So, what I have for you guys is the Bandai vinyls. These are the Creations figures from Bandai America. This is the Godzilla, first Godzilla from 1954, and the Godzilla 2000 from Godzilla 2000. These retailed for about $10 to $20 at, well, when they were like in retail and stuff. But since then, they've gotten off and on reissues, often erratic, and honestly, Bandai has not really done anything with the Godzilla license, but on eBay, you should still be able to find these guys relatively cheap, and honestly, I still think that these things are really nice. But let's say you want a bit more modern and a bit more higher produced in terms of the quantity you get. That's where the master license of the Godzilla license comes in. The Playmates Godzilla figures. These are the most common out of any line. Seriously, you can go to Walmart, Target, buy these literally right there and then. They're $10 a piece per 6-inch figure, and there's so much versions. This one Godzilla right now has 4 retools total. 4 retools. And that doesn't even count the various sizes you can get this thing in, like 11-inch, 13-inch with lights and sounds. There's the minifigure. There's the new Titan tech. There's the brand new Battle Play set with cardboard. There's the Godzilla 2014. There's Kong Skull Island. There's even the classic Toho line will do. So basically, your decision is basically like limitless when it comes to these Playmates figures. So realistically, go wild. With only $10 each, you get a figure, beam effect, and a battle damage piece that you can simulate battle damage like your old Jurassic Park figures you may have had back in the day. Now, this last line, I debated on whether I should put this in the video or not, since this is really new and it just came out. But I decided anyway, because it did technically just come out, and it will be coming out much more when, like, November, December hits, the Hiya Toys figure line. That's right. I think it's called the Hiya Toys Exquisite Figure Basic line, or whatever it's called. But these are higher quality, very much high quality. You can just look at a photo and you'll fall in love with it. On Big Bad Toy Store, they have these things listed for about $50, $40 each, which is not that bad considering the fact that they're about 8 inches tall and the quality is just, it is exquisite. So definitely pick some up if you're interested on Big Bad Toy Store, because right now they're up on pre-order and they're set to go up any minute now, so yeah, you might want to hurry up and get yours while you still can. And the third and final section to this Godzilla figure holiday Christmas guide is the larger scale Godzilla figures, which we're kind of aiming for more 10 to 12 inch kind of style figures. So let's go over our representatives, which first up we're going to be taking a look at Playmates, which they've offered the 11-inch giant line, which so far they have 6 figures released. They have this guy, which is Godzilla Final Wars from 2004. They have Kong Skull Island, the giant size version. They have Godzilla 1954, which is the giant size Godzilla 1954. And then for the GVK line, Godzilla vs. Kong, they have the Giant Godzilla, Giant Kong, and Giant Mecha Godzilla, which all these figures retail for about $20-$30, depending on, again, where you get them from, because I know it depends on retailer to retailer, but that's about the suggested price. So honestly, you're looking at a pretty sweet deal for such a big beast of a figure. I mean, this thing is worth it on its own. The next figure we're going to be taking a look at is the Bandai Monster King series figures, which are about 10 or so inches. And in terms of price, that's a bit difficult to actually determine, because these things are Japanese imports half the time, and I know Japanese shipping can be crazily expensive. But from what I'm seeing, these guys about retail for about about $20-$30 at US conversion. And I think the best place to buy these would probably either be Amazon or eBay, because that's kind of where I got this guy from, the secondhand market and such. So this guy is honestly pretty dang cool. This is the Godzilla Monster King Godzilla Figures from the anime trilogy on Netflix, which you can watch this movie, Planet of the Monsters. It's actually a pretty alright movie for what it is, at least. And even though this one's technically not really figure, it is kind of like a figure. It's a statue, but then again, half the figures are probably statues nowadays. This is the Godzilla Diamond Select bust line, which this is the newest release, the Godzilla 1993 figure, or statue, made of PVC, and depicts him holding the Garuda plane and ripping it in part like he did in the movie poster to Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2 in 1993. And he actually didn't come with it, but there's a separately packaged Rodan that retails for about, I want to say like not $30, $60, and this itself retails for about $80. Because of just how big this thing is. This thing's about 11-12 inches tall, and is actually the heaviest Godzilla figure in the entire collection. Keep in mind, I own over 150 figures, so that's probably why. But that's still really impressive. I also own the 91 figure, which is about a little smaller than this, and then there's King Ghidorah, and then there's the Burning Godzilla from SDCC. So you're looking at 5 figures that vary in price, but this thing is the most expensive one. And even though I don't imagine a whole lot of people getting this one, I do recommend if you can buy this thing and you actually have the money. So again, link will be in the description for all these. So that's all I really have to show. This was just kind of a little fun video kind of presentation I wanted to do to help folks out there who just need some sort of Godzilla figure guide out there, because as good as other figure guides are, I feel like what they don't really do is tell you the availability of these figures, and a lot of these figures are still relatively available on the market. You just gotta look in the right places to find them. And I've linked every single one I could in the description box below, so please go check them out. With that being said, I also wanted to create this video just as a little fun thing for me to do, since Christmas is coming in 2 months, and Hanukkah is another holiday that, is celebrated amongst Jewish people. So I just want to kind of help anyone out in case, because Hanukkah does happen before Christmas does. Just in case if anyone's struggling to find Godzilla figures for anyone who does celebrate Hanukkah, so there you go. So it doesn't just have to be for Godzilla. It can be for any holiday that's celebrated around this time of year. But I want to make this mention that this is only for 2022 holiday. This is not really meant for the next year, because a lot could change. A lot of figures could go down in stock. They could go up in stock. There could be new figure lines. Some of the figure lines I just mentioned could be just flat out discontinued. They could be just all of a sudden obscure, like literally out of existence, and nobody's selling them. And honestly, that could happen. You never know. So I want to make that mention that this is only meant for 2022 and 2022 only. If it's somehow in 2023, then I won't make too much of a different video, but I want to keep these videos sort of coming, on a yearly basis. So, and also there was no actual Godzilla advent calendar, which I know there's a huge market for that, but do keep in mind that there is no official Godzilla advent calendar. The ones that you've been seeing online are literally fakes. There's no way a figure about 6 inches could fit inside a small little cubby hole that it's about this size, and like it's completely photoshopped. So check your facts, people. Buy the real legit figures. Buy all the figures I just listed and showed in this video. Link is in the description box for at least a good majority of them. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys liked it, definitely subscribe to the channel. You'll definitely thank me once November and December come around and everyone's buying the merch and stuff. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. Jesus loves you, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, everyone.